So, welcome to our very exciting, stimulating webinar on volunteer media and documentation. So, this is kind of the stuff that we'll cover in this. I will speak a bit on some of the do's and don'ts of collecting media and how collecting media can help SwimTayka, and then Joe will speak a bit more on specifics, what we're looking for and what can help us. And then if there are any questions about anything we say, our expansive, wonderful audience is free to ask those. So firstly, some do's and don'ts. Do get lots of photos of everything: the children, the pools, the accommodation, the venue, anywhere you might be going on the weekends, any of the food, like anything. Pictures of everything of that. However, while you're doing that, just keep in mind focusing on the children. It's the reason that everybody's out there. It's the reason we do what we do. So we definitely want to make sure that we are highlighting, I guess, the people that we're serving, basically, and how we're helping them and what they're getting out of it. And then that can also even go into maybe what they're not getting out of it. What do they still need? What can we come back in the next year and do better? Do make sure that you have consent when taking photos or videos of the children, especially. This can be obtained. The parents may sort of give it to you directly, but they also won't be there the whole time. So the best way to get that is to speak with the program director, who will have already spoken with parents about this. And then if there are any children who need to be left out of photos or videos, you can either just not take photos of them, but if you are able to remember and consistently point out this person in any photos, then we could also do a blur face kind of thing afterwards. But you would have to just be aware and make sure that it's really pointed out to us. So do take videos as well. We get photos from volunteers, which are awesome, but rarely do we get many videos. And with the rise of social media being the way that it is, videos can be a very drawing in type of thing for people and really engage them, and then also showcase what's going on in a little bit more of an expansive way. And do ask questions. Ask the kids question, even ask other volunteers who are there questions. It may come naturally, it may not, which is why Joe has awesomely put together some sample questions that we will talk about later. So for don'ts, don't focus on yourself, which goes along with the do focus on the children. So of course you can take selfies, and you will, and you'll probably take some pictures with the kids. That's fine. Just don't make it volunteer centric when what we're trying to focus on is actually volunteering, actually teaching swimming to the children that we've committed ourselves to. Don't wear or highlight brands or logos that are not SwimTayka or the partner program that you're at. So for Bali, it's SwimDo. If you have got a SwimTayka t-shirt or one with their name on it, that's great, that's fine. But if you are, I don't know, wearing a t-shirt that has a local bank's image on it or something, that's not okay, and we won't be able to use any content that includes that sort of thing. And along that same line, don't talk about external organizations, which can be a personal employment, or say you have your own swim school. This is not an opportunity for advertising for personal or financial gain or any of that kind of thing. It's SwimTayka, it's the partner, it's the children, it's the teaching swimming, and if there is any content that is promoting external organizations that we're not working with, that also becomes content that we aren't able to use. And it's not just for a, oh, we don't want to feature other people reason, it's also for any kind of legal stipulations or problems that could crop up from that. Did I just go backwards? Right, okay. So this is how gathering this content can help SwimTayka. It showcases what we do on social media so we can use all of the content to create posts and spread our message wider. And it is always so much more impactful when we have recent, relevant photos and content. Otherwise, we're just kind of drawing on our reserves from up to 5 years ago, kind of thing. And these are maybe pictures people have already seen, or maybe somebody, one of the organizations has moved pools, so they don't even operate in that area anymore. And then the more we have, it's just kind of the more we can do. It also allows us to hear from the people that we're serving, so the children, their parents. It gives us insight into the community that we're helping to support and that the volunteers are helping to teach swimming and drowning prevention. It also supports us when we have grant applications because they often want case studies and images kind of showing what we're about and what we're asking them to give us money for. And when it comes to that kind of situation, it really does need to be photos that are taken in the very recent past. Otherwise, the grant people could just say, well, how do we know you're even doing this right now? Because we can tell that this is from 7 years ago. Sharing the content that volunteers can gather helps inspire more people to volunteer when they can see what's happening, the relevant things. Again, it's about kind of the time, the photos that are the here and now, drawing people in because they see it and they saying, oh, I can see the need for right now. I could address this right now. So it helps us in that way as well. And it also improves our understanding of the program in general, especially if you're taking a variety of photos or videos, including things like the accommodation, the land where the program is, photos of the pool, that sort of thing. It helps us as SwimTayka staff to gain a better picture of not just what it's like for the program, but what also the volunteer experience is like. And then it also helps us answer questions for potential volunteers in better, more cohesive ways because we will just have a bit more of that input to feed our mental information banks. So, this is over to Jo. This is some of the questions that she's put together that can help stimulate conversation both with the children and with the parents. So, Jo, if you want to speak a bit more about these.
Yeah, thank you, Ash. So my input with SwimTayka is helping create the content, particularly the words. So I help with blog writing, social media post writing, and so on. And it's having that, as Ash was saying, that the material for us to write those blog posts, to write those social media posts that tell the stories of the children and their families that are most impactful. I think if people could see exactly what SwimTayka is doing as primary evidence, I think that's that's a good way forward, and it gives us material to put on social media, as I say, and on the website, and in the other places that Ash has mentioned. So this is just, Ash has put this into a branded document that she'll be sending around later. But it's just really some of the questions you might like to ask the children, and you could record them on the phone and appreciate there's possibly a language barrier there, so we could obviously use Google Translate to help translate them later. But these are some of the things to ask the children, just to ask them to talk about themselves, really, bits about themselves, their families, what they think of the programme, whether they're enjoying it, what they're getting out of it. I know in the past when I've spoken to volunteers who've been on the programmes, one of the things they observe that the children start off so quite apprehensive, and how much they flourish in terms of learning how to swim and water confidence. So it'd be lovely to have that in the children's own words as well. There aren't always parents there, but sometimes there might be parents available. And again, perhaps doing a little phone recording, even better video recording, as Ash was saying, if they're happy to do so, but phone recording. Just these are some of the questions to ask the parents, perhaps whether they ever had an opportunity to learn to swim, what their worries are about their children being around water, why they've picked the SwimTayka programme, how it makes them feel, what their thoughts are on seeing their children, going from perhaps non-swimmers to being water confident over the course of the programme. So these are just some suggested questions. I'm sure people have loads of their own, but it's just some prompts to help get answers from the children or the parents that perhaps a little bit more than one word answers as well. We've tried before, but sending questions out to a programme for one of the members of the programme team to distribute around, but we tended to just get the one word, and it's written text, which just isn't as inspiring. So little videos, and say recordings that we can then use Google Translate to populate some text and put alongside some of the other videos or photos that we might be getting will be really great. So hopefully that's helpful.
And there's also the possibility of sort of going up to one of the local program staff or the local volunteers and asking them to come along and help translate things for you. They may be busy, but they may also not be, and they'll be prepared for some of the language barrier things that might crop up anyway. And then that might help the process go a little bit smoother for you, just kind of depending on how confident you may or may not be speaking with people where there may be a language barrier. So that is really what we had. Short and sweet.
Short and sweet, yeah.
So
I'd like to add, sorry, before we get to it, I'd like to just mention, obviously we don't want this to be at the expense of you doing your volunteering. The most important thing is to do the volunteering that you're out there to do and have a great experience and help the children with the programmes. But as and when there are opportunities, a little bit of downtime, bit of quiet time, if you could just be thinking at the back of your mind, perhaps I could get a little video of little Johnny or whatever the Spanish equivalent is, Jose or something. Just have a quick chat with him or her. Little bit of video, a little bit of voice recording. That'd be great. But say we don't want this to be at the expense of what you're out there to do, but hopefully just be able to fit in some time alongside it. Really.
Exactly. Yes. If you want to get really into it as well, you can think, wow, what kind of content would push me to do this if you weren't already doing it, of course, which you are and is great. But maybe if I was a little more hesitant, what would I need to see to be convinced to volunteer and to go do this? Because it is different for everybody, and everybody has their own unique perspective. But as Joe said, that's maybe a bit more intensive than the time that you'll have. But just a thing you can keep in mind if you want.
Yeah.
So off of all of that, are there any questions about any of that? You will get the document that Joe mentioned with those questions sent to your email, and I will also attach our media guidelines, which really go over the do's and don'ts things that I said, but in more detail. But it is a useful thing to have a read through and be aware of.
Yeah, lovely. And I guess if you are able to, get some videos or have a little voice recording, or you've got some written notes, I think just pop them on an email to you, Ash. Mm-hmm. We haven't said where to send all this good stuff we're going to get in, but
that's true. We'll need to set up, or by we I mean me, to set up a shared Google Drive, because that will be the easiest way to just put all the pictures in there rather than having to do, 10 photos per email kind of thing.
That would be, yeah, that's a good idea.
And that may be set up before you go out, but you'll definitely get a link to it afterwards. Because I wouldn't want it to be like at the end of every day, I feel like I have to upload all of the photos I've taken. Then it's fine if it's just, a big old batch once you're back and settled.
Yeah. But as I say, photos are great, but there's that storytelling from the children, their parents, in their own words that we can make use of. I think. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Perfect. I guess that means we did our job well.
Hopefully, yeah. Or not. It's one way or another, isn't it?
Well, we will know. We'll know when everybody gets back.
Yeah, lovely. Have a great time. A lovely time.
Definitely. I'll go ahead and end the recording now. Just